Sure. All right. So, hello, everyone. On behalf of the Space Renaissance Initiative, we are really excited to welcome you all for our first webinar in this series that we will start today. The webinar title is Global Development Sustainability by Civilian Space Development. The webinar series is part of the event Expanding Humanity to Outer Space, International Cooperation. Participating teams from the age of 18 to 35 will work on a space habitat advanced concept, not a science fiction, but an advanced concept. And they will deliver a statement of work and a 10-minute presentation by the end of the event. If you are lucky by your presentation and your statement of work, you will win a partial scholarship to attend the International Astronautical Congress. So, of course, these webinar series is like educational materials to support you to comply with the deliverables and requirements to win the scholarship. So, as I mentioned, the title of this presentation, the title of this webinar is, 1 minute. The title of this webinar is Global Development Sustainability by Civilian Space Development, the Space 18th SDG. And it's presented by Adriano Autino. So during the last 20 years, it became more and more evident that a civilization of 8 billion citizens cannot continue its development on one planet. That would not be sustainable. Environmentalists have coined the slogan, "We don't have a planet B." According to their limited non-humanist philosophy, they mean that we cannot have it, or even that we should not have it. Opposite, space humanists believe that we shall work to get one or more planets B, or to build big infrastructure in space using asteroid raw materials, a very different concept of sustainability indeed. The technology of reusable rocket initiated in 2015 provides a key asset to make human space flight and space settlement feasible and sustainable, promising to achieve soon the use of non-terrestrial resources for industrial and cultural development outside of our mother planet. Such great epical opportunity shall be seized quickly. Our launch window could close sooner than expected under the strikes of the global multi-crisis gripping our world. The recent escalation of what has been called a world war in pieces may participate our civilization into non-reversible implosion. Humanity needs to take some meaningful steps on the road of civilian space development before 2030. That would be a clear sign of crisis reversal and will ignite the spark of hope in the young generations, showing that there is a big project for which it's worth to engage, study, and work for. This lecture provides a synthesis scenario of some urgent development to be undertaken, higher priorities to be assigned to some scientific research restraints and some industrial initiatives, a survey of the new space versus traditional aerospace, and the opportunities now waiting for young scientists and entrepreneurs, both in space and on Earth. Finally, the lecturer, Adriano Autino, will speak about how to engage the United Nations. So Adriano is from Italy, is the co-founder and former president of the Space Renaissance Initiative. From 2010, Space Renaissance International, an intercultural non-profit association whose mission is the opening of the space frontier, low-cost access to space, space tourism, industrialization of the geo-lunar space, use of near-Earth asteroids, and the full development of space economy. Adriano graduated in industrial electronics, acting since 1971 as a software and system engineer. then project manager and entrepreneur in the field of real-time automation systems. His curiosity and the desire to engage in frontier fields have led him to work in the aerospace environment and to devise and develop an integrated software system, supporting the systems engineering and the project lifecycle management process. Adriano authored and co-authored several books, papers, and articles on the theme of civilization expansion into outer space. So, Adriano, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ganim. Yeah, this will be most of all a philosophical and political presentation of the scenario of the world and of the possible expansion of civilization into space. And I will also provide some data, I hope useful data about the new space industry sector and the possibilities of business and of getting jobs in this environment. So let me share my screenshot, my screen. Okay, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, yes, we can.
Yes, now it's in full view.
Good. Oh, we have Corinne. Okay, let's start. The first session of my lecture, I hope I will it will be take no more than 1 hour. Then we can have some questions and answers at the end. So the first section is a sustainable development for 8 billion earthly citizens, and yeah, the needs of 8 billion humans on this planet are many. We have overcome the threshold of 8 billion individuals on planet Earth. Our growth is now unsustainable if confined within the limits of our mother planet. Mother Earth is tired and commenced to try kicking us off by several warnings: strong climate changes, pandemics, political craziness. The remaining resources on Earth are now insufficient to allow a decent social growth of all peoples of Earth. The pressure inside Earth is increasing due to our growth in a closed system. A new industrial revolution is dramatically needed, 100% inclusive, to satisfy the sacrosanct right to development of all the human beings and their communities. Note that the right to development was recognized as a universal right by the United Nations General Assembly in 1986. Yet, the strategies advanced by the main powers are definitely not equal to the problem to be solved. Passive strategies are pursued trying to mitigate climate change and pollution, but strategies are oriented to the growth and the industrialization, while people need billions new jobs. So a very critical situation. Furthermore, we are experimenting during the last 2 years an increase of the wars on our planet at the doors of Europe, in Ukraine, and now in Palestine, in Gaza. So we know that the only alternative to this terrible general crisis is to start developing in space. That will generate new jobs and will give hope to many people and possibly divert their attention from fighting for the few remaining resources on our planet. So space and peace are a mutual sustain. Many global crises like pandemic, climate changes, and economic crisis besiege civilization. Instead of uniting our efforts to go over the primitive practice of war, the state's legal murdering is expanding to the whole planet Earth. Humanity is not driven by the best practices, but by the worst ones. To achieve the United Nations 17 SDGs of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, will resolve global issues, eliminate reasons for conflicts, and restart civilization growth. Yet, restarting growth within the limits of Earth immediately drives to conflicts, dramatically heading to a global war to grab the scarce resources remaining on our mother planet. So, space development is a strong factor of peace and a true alternative to resource wars. The solar system offers virtually unlimited abundant resources. There is plenty for everyone. No need to fight. So, space development is a strong factor of peace and a true alternative, and collaboration among scientists from different countries on the ISS, even during hard confrontation on Earth's surface, represents an example of enhanced human relationships. The overview effect proposed by Frank White showed that observing our planet from orbit, we see no physical borders among countries. Borders are conventions which may be overcome in a more advanced and broader vision of the world in a solar system society. The whole weapons industry may be reconverted into civilian astronautic industry without losing any jobs, but incrementing employment both on Earth and in space. Space development strongly sustains peace. Conversely, a global war may hinder humanity's expansion into space. So, space for peace is equal to peace for space. They are mutually sustaining each other. We have two possible futures. Thinking about the big crisis that we are experiencing in this decade toward 2030, we have the possibility that the world will remain closed, and the possibility that the world will be open and the high frontier finally be open and expansion can kick off. These are two opposite possible futures. The first one that you see on the left of the screen, in a closed world, human growth in a closed system brings to decline and death of civilization, because the resources, material resources of this planet are finite. They are not infinite, and there are clearly limits to growth. So this brings to the fear of the future. This brings to stagnation and economic recession and decrease of the human life value, ethic regression, rise of mafia conflicts and wars, philosophic cannibalism, hostility toward children, authoritarianism, tyranny, and barbarianism. So decline and death of civilization. The opposite future, in an open world, human growth brings to access to the very huge resources and energy of the solar system. Abundance of resources and energy brings to boundless development. Earth is lightened of the human development weight. So the Earth environment will be relieved from the burden of our development. This will bring to confidence and hope in the future. Unprecedented economic growth, full development of human heritage and intelligent life, ethical evolution, obsolescence of mafia conflicts and wars, philosophic openness, human and the future, a transcendent fusion between humanity and nature, not only on this planet. Peace, development, freedom, and democracy. The children are the treasure of humanity, and so we will restart growth and evolution of civilization. So this is the choice we have before us. It is widely believed that sustainability means nothing else than reducing human activities on Earth in order to decrease our ecological footprints on this planet. But that would imply a rapid decay of civilization. As stated in the 1986 UN resolution, development is a universal civil right. We propose a more advanced concept of sustainability. The only way for 8 billion terrestrials to moderate their footprints on Earth would be to commence developing elsewhere. Expanding civilization into space will progressively relocate industries off Earth and consequently relieve the burden of our development on our home planet. Earth's green lungs and seas will regenerate themselves, Mother Earth will take a breath, and human civilization will resume growth and become more inclusive. So the third millennium sustainability is based on the 7th, 8th, and 9th Sustainable Development Goals. These are the real challenges. That is, the 7th, 8th, and 9 are industrial development, social development, and energy development. The only sustainable development for 8 billion people is beyond the limits of this planet. Energy demand by the internet society is higher than the previous model. Progressively moving industries in outer space will halve the energy demand on Earth. Expansion is indispensable, not to grab space resources to feed Earth society, yet to give terrestrial citizens the freedom to settle in the solar system. A geolunar society shall begin to exist. The space diaspora brings many benefits. First of all, survival of civilization. What is making possible this option to start moving and expanding into space? The reusable rockets. Reusable rockets change the paradigm and boost the kickoff of the civilization expansion in outer space. It was initiated in 2015 that can be considered a turning point in history. Reusable rockets have changed the paradigm. The cost of launch is coming down between 3 to 5 orders of magnitude. Space is no longer the promise of the few. Low-cost access to space offers opportunities to the many. Scale is now relative to our aspirations. In fact, space is the answer to the crisis of civilization. Is the answer for what concerns resources, energy, territory, environment, population, and social issues. Space does not automatically force ethical maturity. That remains our choice and responsibility. Yet space offers a virtually unlimited platform of material resources and energy, an objective condition supporting social growth, freedom, and peaceful competition and collaboration. Space offers us the possibility to relieve Earth's environment from the burden of our industrial development and learn to become the best stewards of the Earth and life as we know it. But the launch window may close soon. In the 2025 to 2030 is a crucial crisis point in history. Low-cost access to space is pushing us outside. But social, financial, environmental, and geopolitical crises are trying to keep us chained to the Earth's surface. Humanity must invest in providing for the future before the travails of the present overwhelm our basis for rational action. And the longer we take to expand into space, the more difficult it will be. If there is no new frontier to reinfuse hope and confidence in a better future, social fears will trigger conflicts and wars, paving the way to irreversible civilization implosion. This is an important point because we often heard by the scientists and by the people that are working on science and technologies that we have time and that our technologies should still improve before we are able to really to go, etc. This thing is now false, completely false, because our growth inside the closed system brought to us to a global crisis, and this global crisis could make our effort to fail and to go back in history, in the evolutionary scale. We must transform our understanding of economics from distributing a scarcity of goods and services to fostering an abundance of the same. So this is important because it will reopen the hope in the mind of the people that will be psychologically motivated to work, to go, to expand, to start expanding into space. Okay. So let's have now a look on the differences, the characteristics of the new space versus traditional aerospace, and the opportunities. So if you are a young entrepreneur, you will have many question marks in your head. What is the new space market? What can my company do in the new space market? Do traditional subcontracting supply chains still exist? Does my company have the skills to develop innovative products and concepts? And if you are going to choose your study, your scholar path, you have even more question marks. Should I choose engineering, science, humanism? Which others will make it easier for me to find a job? Philosophy, communication, space, marketing, economy. But new space is offering opportunities. Why? Because, okay, this was the traditional aerospace paradigm. The stakeholders were exploration, science, and telecommunications, most of all. We had the space agency was the customer. Subcontractors were working on the requirements made by the space agencies, published the requirements. A main contractor applied to supply an integrated satellite or mission, and subcontractors were working on the subsystem requirements. Then with the subsystem integrator, the main contractor can supply. So the paradigm was high costs, long development times, public money, and mostly trained astronauts, prevailing robotics, full government control over space, monopoly over few large companies, expendable rockets, market driven by public institutions. New space is completely different. Number of stakeholders is very, very much bigger. So humanity, the entire humanity is the main stakeholder. Philosophy, vision, civilization expansion, settlement, industrialization, human space flight, improving Earth's environment by shifting industrial development in space, and further exploration. Let's see that we still have space agencies as customers, but we also have private customers. And so it means that the requirements, the development requirements, are issued by private customers. They say what they want to do. And of course, also by the space agency, because here is the know-how, accumulated know-how, very, very precious, however, that should not be wasted. So this is the requirements come to private investors that have a range of activities to work on. Startups, space tourism, low-cost reusable orbital, asteroid mining, inter-orbital transport and services, space agriculture, space debris reuse, and they produce space products and services delivered to private customers. And also they produce ship clerks delivered to space agencies. So the paradigm is quick, better, and cheaper access to space. Pragmatism, business-minded, independence from governments, private capital, civilian space development, market driven by business and vision. So, making a direct comparison between old space and new space, we have that old space was funded by public money, while new space is funded by private financing. We had a classic supply chain driven by requirements of the agencies, and we have, in the new space, we have companies' mission strategies based on own ideas and innovation goals. In old space, we had science, telecommunication, exploration only, and in the new space, we have space settlement and industrialization. In the old space, we had astronautics by military-trained explorers. And in the new space, we have passengers, tourists, and civilian pioneers in space. We had only expendable rockets, and now we have reusable rockets. The exploration was mostly robotic in the old space. And now in the new space, we are targeting human space flights and settlement with the support of robots and AI and artificial intelligence. And first of all, the moon. That is now the target of a new race in space. Old space was controlled by governments, and new space is independent from governments. The new space companies work with governments, however, but they are not dependent from governments. Old space was not available to private investors because the costs were very, very high. And the new space is mainly based on private investors. All space took care of Earth's environment only through Earth observation, and new space is taking care of Earth's environment by relocating industrial development into space. High cost of the mission, returns of investment far in the future for all space, faster and cheaper access to space, faster return on investment in the new space reality. And in all space, we had irresponsible proliferation of wreckage and debris in orbit. And the new space is taking care of avoiding new debris and to recover and reuse the old ones. Furthermore, we have now in the new space applications and experiences tailored to the customer needs and requirements. Nothing of that kind was in the old space reality. Separate space program from the Air Force. Now we have in the new space collaboration between space aeronautics and space tourism. In all space, we have everything built on Earth and transferred through orbit. In the new space, we will have in orbit assembly, integration, testing, and delivery. We had the transport of terrestrial materials in orbit on the moon and in cislunar space. We have usable local lunar and asteroid resources. Government space stations for up to 6 months of stay of the astronauts in the old space. And in the new space, we will have space architecture, space habitats with simulated gravity and protected from radiation for long-term stays. Planned science experiments in the old space. So something was done on the biological side. In the new space, we will have space farming. Limited technology experiments on the ISS. and in the new space, wide-ranging technological developments such as mechanical, chemical, electronic, optical, welding, etc. Spin-off transfer of technology from space to Earth was the normal in all space, and in the new space we will have Earth jobs to expand into space. So we will not have only moon mining and asteroid mining and this kind of activities. We will also have normal jobs in space, because we will have food production, we will have restoration, we will have hotels, we will have a lot logistic, we will have a lot of let me say earthly jobs that can be that will expand into space. Okay, this is double. Yeah. Last, the all space, the ground to orbit transport cost was about $50,000 per kilogram, and in the new space, the cost per kilogram is now about $1,500 per kilogram, and with the Starship, when Starship will be fully operative, we expect the cost to go down to $100 per kilogram. Access to space, the development of the space shuttle costed $200 billion, and in the new space we have managed by private companies at decreasing cost according to the market growth. Sorry. Okay. A satellite launch was about more than 200 million each satellite launch. Nowadays the cost of a satellite launch is under 50 million and is going to be under 5 million. Each carrier is a unique piece, except the Soyuz, because we had 5 space shuttles that were never produced in a industrial style. Not so the Soyuz that was produced about 1 per year. So it could be the project was always the same, but the machine was renewed. It was a new one each year. And now with the new space, we have industrial production of standardized carriers. They are all, SpaceX is already producing the Starship, many pieces, even now that they still have to prove their machine in orbit. This is what this is the impact from SpaceX on the cost of access to space so far. So we come from $51 and $200 per kilogram in the 1980 with the space shuttle, and then there is a decreasing curve up to the Falcon. Yeah, Falcon Heavy is about 1,600, and we are expecting to go down under the 800 with the Starship, and with the Starship back to $200 per kilogram. So this is a real revolution that is making possible the civilian space development. We made a similar comparison between space exploration and expansion, space settlement. I'm sorry that some of these writings are dark, and cannot be read. It's my fault that I made. But sorry, I can take care of this very quickly. Just a moment. Just a moment. Okay. So exploration can exist without expansion, but expansion requires more advanced exploration. Exploration is a military concept. Expansion is a civilian concept. Exploration does not require industrialization or infrastructure construction. Expansion requires industrialization and infrastructure construction. Exploration can be done by robots alone. Expansion requires a consistent expansion of human settlement from Earth into near space and progressively beyond. The exploration is done with public money. The expansion is based on investors and private companies with public support in the first phase. Exploration is made up of short round-trip missions. Expansion is based on permanent settlements. Exploration does not imply growth. Expansion is a process of global and progressive civilization growth. Exploration only gives technological return. Expansion ensures continued global economic and social growth. Exploration is based on the expandability of human life. Expansion requires a continued evolution of technologies for the protection of life and Earth. Exploration can exist without expansion. Expansion requires moving, evolving land-based jobs into space. As I highlighted in the table, the expansion will not kill space exploration, while exploration for its own sake can delay and even hinder expansion in the context of a space program lacking an adequate strategy. So let's come to opportunities. This list is only a few, okay, an example of what we have as opportunities. Space environment, defense against micrometeorite, orbital debris, radiation, thermal stress. Old approach, building space station by bringing everything from Earth. New approach, assembling station in space using in situ resources. Big data and testing. Ground-based simulated space bases. Underwater settlement. Sorry. Okay. Underwater settlements, exploration bases, infrastructure, communication, vehicles, logistics, research infrastructure, biotech laboratories, agriculture, greenhouses, hydroponic crops, etc. Raw material production and processing facilities, metal structures, tanks, pipelines, cars, orbital debris and scrap, decommissioning, capture, reuse, scrap and debris process, privatization of the ISS. What will be done on the ISS once privatized? Mining on the moon, mining on asteroids. And building in space, new materials and processes. The friction welding. Welding in vacuum and zero gravity. Layered additive manufacturing, 3D printing. Construction using lunar regolith. Reusable launchers. Orbital debris. NASA Lunar Orbital Platform, formerly known as Deep Space Gateway. ESA Lunar Village, orbital dumps, storage of material for future reuse, transport, and towing. Aeronautics, civil astronautics evolution. Suborbital flights, space sports, space robots, human work with humanoid robots, hybrid engines, hypersonic flight, transport, point-to-point at suborbital altitude, progressive miniaturization, 3D printing, solar cells. The main space sectors that are proposing themselves on the market now. Reusable transport vehicles for passengers and goods, space tourism, orbital debris recovery and reuse, mining on asteroids, mining on the moon, orbital lunar cislunar habitats, zero gravity products, satellite transport, orbital lunar cislunar manufacturing production, commercial stations and orbital hotels, protection of life in space, in orbit satellite maintenance, hypersonic vehicles. So first of all, the main factor now we have also, also Blue Origin is working on reusable vehicles and other companies too. And also the Chinese are working, some Chinese companies are working on that. However, let me say the leader is SpaceX with the Starship Starship plus Falcon Super Heavy is a space transport vehicle 100% reusable, 2 stages, both reusable. It's 120 meters tall and 9 meter large. Payload from 100 to 150 tons, depends from orbit. Falcon Super Heavy engines, 33 liquid methane plus oxygen Raptors liquid. Starship engines, 3 Raptors vacuum liquid methane plus liquid oxygen. Destination, Earth, orbit, Moon, Mars, terrestrial connection point to point. Blue Origin is working on the new Glenn that maybe will have the first fly in 2024. The 8 is 98 meters, the diameter is 7 meters, so it's a little bit smaller than Starship. 70 tons max load useful in orbit, in low orbit. Okay, it will launch, yeah, in this slide, the fourth quarter of 2023. Of course, it was not done. It will be maybe in 2024. And it is a heavy lift launch vehicle capable of carrying people and payloads in Earth orbit and beyond. The reusable first stage built for 25 missions, 7 meter fairing, volume of payload twice superior to that of any other existing launch vehicle, able to launch and land in 95% of condition weight. Sierra Nevada is producing the Dream Chaser. It is Dream Chaser is conceived to be launched on a ULA vector, and it is designed to transport both materials and people to the space station as first target. There is a business model made by ULA about the geolunar space industrialization. Quite interesting, is including launchers, of course, from Earth, tankers in order to refuel in space, and to have cargo flow from launch to LEO, refuel cargo, access transport to GEO, deploy cargo, and the propellant flow mined on Moon, transport to EML1, the Lagrange point, from Xios to access transport to LEO, and transfer to cargo access. So this is an integrated view of the geolunar industrial development. Then we have space tourism. Suborbital tourism exceeding the quota of 100 kilometers. Aircraft already tested in a serious production phase. Start of operation. Okay, this slide is a little bit old, but however, this is true. Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic started their flight. The cost per person is around some hundreds, maybe 300 or 400 K per person. Then we have orbital Earth tourism. Cost per person is still very high, 60 million each, but of course it will all of these prices will decrease when the market will enlarge, and of course when we have more stations in orbit to allow more tourists to go there. Okay, stay in orbit in pressurized structures, only ISS currently available, but commercial orbital stations are in progress of design and should be operative before 2030. This is the growth of the US space tourism market. It is about 200 million. Yes, 200 million, and it is the forecast is to be 4 billion in 2030. So this is what we are doing from 2023. Last year, we made a series of initiatives, both at COPOS in Vienna and in New York, at the United Nations in New York, called the Space 18 SDG. So, a non-exhaustive list of urgent tasks include fully reusable launch vehicles, permanent moon base, producing propellant in space, simulated gravity, life protection in space, commercial rotating space stations, mining the moon and the near-Earth asteroid, orbital debris reutilization. What really matters is to kick off the expansion of humans into space and get meaningful first results on the above key points before 2030. We must lend our efforts to outcome-driven investment to build the future we wish to see come to pass. In the 2015, the United Nations delivered their 2030 agenda. All 17 UN SDGs adopted to date require resources and the generation of new real wealth to be meaningfully addressed. The 2030 agenda was conceptualized during the traditional aerospace age. Space technologies are already supporting SDGs on Earth, but demonstrated not enough for a really sustainable development. Indispensable, urgent to start civilian land space development, both private and public. We propose an 18 SDG to be added, space for all on Earth and beyond. Expanding human communities into outer space to benefit everyone, everywhere. So, this is the 2030 agenda delivered by United Nations in 2015. If we see all the 17 SDGs in this view, we don't understand the priorities. But if we analyze all the goals, we understand that the 17 SDG define a utopia of our time. The 7th, 8th, and 9th SDGs, economical industrial growth, are key for realizing the other 14. True sustainability of the 7, 8, and 9 SDGs is the real challenge. So what does it mean? It means the 7th SDG is the affordable and clean energy, 8 SDG is decent work and economic growth, and the 9 SDGs industrial innovation and infrastructure. So we have to reorder the SDGs, showing that the 7, 8, and 9 are the key pillars that produce beneficial social growth and cultural evolution. Doing that, they make possible the realization of the social SDGs regarding human life: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, reduced inequalities, and sustainable cities and communities. And the realization of all this make possible to take care of the planet Earth environment, climate action, life below water, life on land. And the methodology goals: responsible consumption and production, peace, justice, and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. So the real question is, are these 3 key pillars really sustainable? The answer is no, if they are limited in the boundaries of planet Earth. The development SDG, the 7, 8, and 9, will crash with the environment SDG, climate action, life below water, and life on land. The main conflictual factors are the energy demand, that is, it is increased by electronic web society. So we will decrease our mobility, but we will increase the energy demand. And however, decreasing our mobility is not a good thing, because to stay, okay, I don't want to go deeply in these details. We have a scarcity of key materials. We have new scarcities, because rare earths needed for electronics are raising new resource wars and conflicts. Pollution is increased by disposal of batteries and other technological wastes. The oceans overexploitation and pollution continues to be a big problem. And the social conflicts increased by multiple crises, and now the wars also. So, after reordering, making a new hierarchical structure of the SDGs, we understood that the only way to make all of these SDGs really sustainable is to add an 18th SDG, that is the civilian space development, space for all on Earth and beyond, that will bring to the abundant resources of the solar system, and will bring environmental relief for planet Earth, making possible a new industrial development outside, no more on the surface. Space development will be very, very much benefit for the energy, because a relocation of industry to space will mean less energy demand on Earth. Beneficial growth, civilian astronautic industry, and all the related sectors will make a very big benefit to economy, sustaining all the social goals. Peace and collaboration, war for resources finally relegated to history. Environment, planet Earth relieved from industrial burden. And the cosmic safety, something that is not mentioned in the 17 SDG, but mitigate risk of cosmic threats like asteroids and other cosmic accidents. So, as we already saw, the condition to kick off civilian space development, the first thing is fully reusable, safe and ergonomic vehicles for civilian passengers and cargo transportation in space. Second thing, orbital debris recovery and reuse. The outcomes will be to claim Earth orbit, eliminating dangerous obstacles to navigation, use the grid richness in orbit, in-orbit materials reprocessing to produce fuel in space for passengers and cargo transport vehicles, kick off orbital industrialization. Then mining asteroids. The outcomes will be get materials to build space infrastructures and to produce fuel in space. Big asteroids can be digged inside and transformed in rotating habitats with simulated gravity and protection from cosmic radiation. In our next lecture, I think in 2 weeks, we will have Werner Grandel talking about that, the possible use of asteroids. Mining the moon. The outcomes will be extracting many precious materials, advanced astronomy on the far side, space kindergarten to make experience of space without being too much distant from Earth, experience with closed artificial ecosystems, and boost trans-terrestrial economy. Moon mining, the materials will be the main ones. Oxygen extracted from lunar regolith, water ice in poles, hydrogen present in high concentrations in poles, metals, iron, titanium, aluminum, silicon, calcium, magnesium, rare earths, helium-3 on all the lunar surface. We know that helium-3 is useful for nuclear fusion. Coal and nitrogen extracted from lunar regolith for construction. Protection of life and health in space would be, we need to be protected from solar radiation, from galactic radiation, the explosion of supernovas, and asteroids and cometoids. We know that for the radiation, we have the magnetic field around Earth, and we have the atmosphere that is protecting us. But if we go outside, we are more exposed to solar radiation to galactic radiation. At this point, it's also interesting to refer to the Gerard O'Neill work, because Gerard O'Neill, he was teaching at Princeton University in the 1960s, and he asked his student, is the planetary surface the right place for an expanding technological civilization? They answered no. They brought, the students of Gerard O'Neill wrote some beautiful papers showing that the answer is no, because planetary surfaces in the solar system do not have the same gravity of Earth, first of all. Migrants to the moon or Mars will experience dramatic physiological changes in a few years. Earth may suffer heavy damages. They could go back to Earth only on a wheelchair. That's a heavy limitation to freedom. O'Neill considered his model of space colonies that are fully artificial infrastructures, rotating cylinders, reproducing 1G simulated gravity by spinning, and containing all, sorry, okay, I thought I had another slide, but however, inside these big structures, because you have to think about a diameter of several kilometers inside, and there will be all what is needed inside to reproduce a human life habitat, an habitat suitable to human life, vegetable life, animal life, and everything. So then we have space tourism, not just a toy for super rich. It is the only industrial sector working to bring untrained civilians into space. Space tourism is the link between astronautical space exploration and space settlement. With growth of the market, the ticket price will decrease, as it happened with civil aviation. Then we also ask to bring space and science in schools. The history of space, as well as the history of scientific research, should be added to all education programs, all levels from primary to university. We need to teach the history of love, not just of empires and wars. Our children have to learn the history of the people who dedicated their life to humanity for the progress of civilization. The 18th Sustainable Development Goal shall bring on board these great education values. So this is a very summary roadmap to 2030 to facilitate development of fully reusable, safe, and ergonomic vehicles to further downsize the launch cost, facilitate best practices moon mining, facilitate best practices asteroid deflection and mining, kicking off the industrialization of the geolunar space, salvage and reuse orbital debris, produce propellant in space for the further downsize in space transportation cost, $100 per kilogram, facilitate on-orbit spacecraft servicing, and building industrial infrastructure in the geolunar space that will bring the space economy up to 3 trillion global economy, and the global economy relaunched. Protect healthy life in space, cosmic radiation, simulated gravity, green environment, ergonomics, and comfort. Possibility of living and working outside Earth atmosphere indefinitely. Some key recommendation for space policy: facilitate the new space industry worldwide, facilitate the space tourism industry and markets, promote space and science education in schools, promote framework agreements to resource utilization and space governance based on public and private best practices, support space advocacy NGOs, no strategy without philosophy, understand the requirements of living and working in space with priority to life and health protection. In summary, we recommend the requisite research and development and the mentioned space settlement strategy for any context where strategic decisions are undertaken. Okay, this is a quick history of the 18 SDGs so far. In September 15 of 2023, our coalition, that is almost 70 organizations, held a workshop at the UN Plaza in concomitant with the UN General Assembly 78. In June 5, 2023, Carlton Johnson of the NSS presented the 18 SDG at COP66 session in Vienna. And in 2023, in I think February or something like that, SI and NSS in partnership with many other organizations kicked off the campaign. Then we had, okay, in the years before, I had talked about that in a lecture that I made. In 2021, the final resolution of the third SRI, Third World Congress, had this among its goals to add an 18 SDG, bootstrap the civilian space development to UN Sustainable Development Goals in order to make feasible and sustainable. The concept of an 18 SDG was first developed by the late David Dunlop and Alfred Anzaldúa and Michel Hanlon that presented this idea to the COPUOS in 2018. And in 2017, there were preliminary discussions on an 18 SDG and the 1986 UN Resolution of Human Right to Development. These two discussions were both in the NSS and in SRI. Okay, so we're going to the end. The Space 18 SDG Coalition includes almost 70 organizations. Each organization holds its own preferred concepts and rationales in support of the proposal. For the sake of the largest as possible support, authors and organizations are free to bring their own rationales as a contribution to the campaign. The use of the Space 18 SDG logo is allowed in all presentations and brochure. This presentation represents the vision. Okay, this was for a this slide comes from another presentation. These are all the currently allied organization. You see that we have a Space Renaissance, we have the National Space Society, the Mars Society, Lifeboat Foundation, the Human Space Program of Frank White, the Kepler Space University, Space Tourism Society, the Beyond Earth Institute, and many other organizations, big and small, some companies also, some universities also. And we are very proud of this alliance, and we hope we can do great things with this campaign. Okay, this is for if you somebody want to join the coalition or the co-promoters and to sign the petition on the change.org. Okay.
Thank you, Adriano, very much for this talk. Of course, you spoke about extremely important concepts, especially in the beginning of your presentation, where you linked civilian space development with peace and how prosperity and accessing abundant resources in space will potentially reduce conflicts and start and continue human prosperity. Very quick question from my side, Adriano. Natural space resources are key, of course. We need to extract them, we need to utilize them, and this will create an entire economy. Is it a good idea to extract resources in space and bring them to Earth for processing and creating some commercial products, or the processing and production process should happen in space?
Definitely the second option. The space resources should be used for space development and to build the infrastructure in space and to allow humans to settle and to build a new world, in outside Earth. This concept was also discussed because we are I think few days away from publishing our position paper, SRI, about the key factors before 2030, the problems that can obstacle the kickoff of civilian space development, and the opportunities and the factor that can boost the civilian space development. So it's a big document. It's about 40 pages. We worked a lot from November 2023 with about 12 co-authors discussing about space law, and also about the danger of a new colonialism, what we call the new space colonialism, that would like to take resources, the space resources, and bring them on Earth. That would be negative for several reasons. First of all, because we don't need to, as we have seen in my presentation, if we try to increase industrial development on Earth's surface, we will make things worse, because we will conflict with the environmental goals and make worse the pollution and a lot of negative things. So we need to expand outside, and also because the space resources belong to who? Belong to the space settlers, belong to the brave, courageous people that will go on the moon and in the and to mine the asteroids and to build on-air infrastructures and to make industrial settlements outside. So we cannot. I think it would not be a good choice to bring back on Earth the space resources. Yeah, of course, something we will also bring back on Earth. But let's think about helium-3, that is very much present in the regolith, and helium-3, it would be a very benefit for fusion, nuclear fusion. So if we will make reactors on Earth for energy production, then helium-3, I think it could be a very good resource. And the same for electronics and many other things. So of course we can also think about an economy, an Earth terrestrial economy, that will take profit from space resources, but that should not be the main goal. I think the main goal would be to use space resources for space development.
And of course, this will enhance trade between Earth and colonies or habitats, and that this will allow millions of people living and working in space trading with Earth, reducing the stresses on Earth infrastructure, and also reduces the pollution on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Another quick question, Adriano, regarding the 18th SDG.
Yeah.
Of course, you explained how the 18th SDG is important to connect all the other SDGs, and also the campaign that we did in 2023. How the youth can participate in this campaign?
Oh, the Joes have a great role in this campaign. We need very much to multiply the voices that will spread the word about the 18 SDG in all the sectors of society, because we have to talk, we have not only to talk to the space community, we have to talk outside. And what is the best, so we have seen in the past, also in the last part of the past century, that all the big movements started from JOUT in the universities, in the schools. JOUT went to in the street manifesting against war, manifesting for more inclusive and peaceful society, and I believe nothing can happen. Nothing can really happen if it doesn't come from the JOUT. So we have definitely to call JOUT to join this campaign and to help us, because also to put their creativity at work, because the JOUT they like to do it. They also have fun while doing things for proposing their concepts and their objectives and so on. So I believe that bringing this discussion into schools and university will be very, very much important. So we at SRI, we make ourselves available to go around if we are called, to hold meetings and seminars and discussions and assemblies everywhere, in the schools, in the universities, and so on. And also to help young entrepreneurs to develop their road to space. Because as we have seen in my presentation, some slides that I show, there are many new sectors, new industrial sectors, market sectors that are starting up in these years, but even more will come when we will have more orbital stations, commercial orbital stations, and maybe hotels, and on the moon and so on. So we will have jobs over there, normal jobs, and that are all of that is a new opportunities for entrepreneurs, for young entrepreneurs to develop their companies and to move. So yeah, we have to work with the JOUT, definitely, and the committee, the Space Renaissance Academy committee that you chair, Ganim, is very important for this, because it's the Target Young Generation Committee. So we have to bring many more people inside this committee, and and to start conceiving initiatives and things like what we are doing with this workshop. That's very important for that.
I'm pretty sure there are many youth and students who are interested about this. The concept of astronautical humanism, the relationship between expanding humanity to outer space and peace and prosperity, of course. I think maybe it's good to think about a mechanism on how to involve the youth in order for them to take initiatives to do, to spread the word about the 18th SDG.
Yeah, for sure.
But of course, we are doing this step by step. Now we started this webinar. We will later have the event. hopefully we will select some participating teams, and we will accelerate the work.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very important also to connect the work of this committee with the other committees, because, for instance, the Space Habitats Committee of the Space Renaissance Academy is working to develop several concepts about rotating. Jerry Stone called it Island Zero. It's an on-air concept demonstrator, a small demonstrator for the Island One of on-air and other things. And now we also conceived, this is a few days ago, we also conceived to start a study. This will be probably developed better in 2025 because it's a big work. A study about the dimensions of an on-air habitat, a big one, and for instance, how much will be the quantity of air that can help protecting from the radiation, the cosmic radiation, because we know that the water can protect and other materials can protect, but even the air can protect if it is enough kilometers of air. So we want to study all the requirements for a big on-air habitat, what it takes to have a decent gravity by rotation that is not avoiding the noise of the Coriolis effect, and all these kind of things. And yeah, Werner Grandel will be undertaking this study, and we will probably involve other co-authors for this paper. As I repeat, it will be probably better developed in 2025, because in 2024 we have already so many things to do also for the IAC in Milan in October this year. Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for the youth, and this is what we really hope in the future. So thank you very much, Adriano, for this talk. It will be recorded as educational material. Later on, we will share it with the participating teams. And yeah, it will be the start of our webinar series. Our next webinar will be by Werner, and he will be talking about how to utilize asteroids for the extraction of natural resources, and of course utilizing them.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much to you for organizing all of this workshop and the preliminary works and everything. Really, you and your team, you're making an excellent work. So, I think this will be the first, no? The first of this kind. Okay.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Adriano. And yeah, we will see you later.
Yeah. Ad astra.
Goodbye.